A lot of people go to spiritual teachers and have a lot of complicated issues in that sustainable field that they haven't faced or are not satisfied with or running away from or don't want to participate in. But if you don't satisfy it, you don't understand it, if you don't succeed at it in a way that you are satisfied with it, if you ask other people to do it for you, you know, I always admire someone who can live on the most minimal, simply, and be happy. But it doesn't make them spiritual, particularly. But on the other hand, you know, if you want to go deeper in spiritual life, to have that part of your life be simple for you, not really complicated, and not, you know, building up for big and big and big and big success, that you're overwhelmed with your work and your life with sustaining yourself. And sustaining can also be confused for status and success in the world. So how you proceed there. And it's like all the first chakra, being able to sustain yourself. But some people want to get fulfilled there. They want to sustain themselves with great success, right? They want to have a lot of money. They want status. Okay, the second chakra, which is around relationships, the emotional, the sexual. So a lot of people feel like if they fall in love and have a love relationship or have children, that then they will be satisfied. And there's a lot to learn and grow in to achieve any satisfaction in that area. So a lot of people are really complicated in sustainability, not only not satisfied with it, but trying to get satisfied to get fulfilled for status and recognition. But also they're also complicated in the relatable field. So their relationships don't bring love and joy to each other, rather that they're just based on desire and possessiveness and attachment. So if your relationships don't bring you joy and you don't bring joy to others, then obviously that you feel there's something very unsatisfying in the relatable field. So you have the sustainable field, you have the relatable field, and these are the foundations for to really have a real solid grasp of real spiritual understanding. So if those are weak or scattered, or you're seeking in those for fulfillment, then obviously you're not looking for spiritual understanding or depth, because you're trying to find it someplace else. And that's the areas where people are always looking for it. So if you feel there's a weakness in your sustainable field or your relatable field, and you want to meditate and go deeper into revelation of who you are, you won't be able to go very deep in your meditation. You can be around a realizer, and then they can give you a glimpse of a deep meditation or a spiritual experience of that, but you yourself won't be able to take root with that and go deep with that because of those other areas. A lot of spiritual practice is coming to terms with life and with your embodiment, and your embodiment is those two areas, those two chakras, which is that survival and the relatable field. And once those are satisfied by you in the way that they're clean, done well, they're satisfying, doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to look like you're a great success in the world or anything like that, but they're just done well, that you're satisfied. Then if you begin to want to deepen your meditation or your spiritual practice, then you'll find that your meditation will begin to deepen at that point. So you can meditate for many, many years, but attention's still lost in the first two chakras. And you could say, well, why doesn't my meditation get deeper? It's because of this, because of those things. And the search for happiness in those things also brings up the dissatisfaction. But those things are not there to fulfill you or dissatisfy you. They're there to live a life. And embodied life requires, the physical aspect and supporting that physical aspect, and also the relatable aspect of being in relationship with yourself and others. So if those are not done in a way that is satisfying and intelligent, then the approach to spirituality will be just to somehow uncover some spiritual power to make those things work out better. So your motive is, whatever sucks about my life, this spiritual power through meditation or being around a spiritual force or contacting the spiritual force will somehow make all this work out. So, anybody want to say anything? Questions or?
What would you say the difference? I was thinking about this morning. The difference between real detachment versus withdrawing. Like a good way to put it. I feel like sometimes to be detached sometimes
Okay, let's talk about detachment
Mm-hmm.
in sustainable field. Are you sustaining yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Are you satisfied with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's the problem?
It's not about sustainability. It's about clearly recognizing.
It is about sustainability. That's what I'm saying. If you're satisfied
Right,
with it, you've done the work.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So is it a matter of attachment or detachment? If you've done the work, you're sustaining yourself, it doesn't even
doesn't
apply.
matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So is it in the relatable field?
It's more about the relatable
Okay.
feel, about recognizing where the truth place to stand is versus one that I could imagine on either side of the fence. Do I go toward it? Do I open or do I withdraw? Or is that detachment? That kind of...
Go towards everything you want.
Yeah.
It will teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But it will teach you that either you want it or you don't
Or
want
you
it,
don't,
and
yeah.
what the reason. It will teach you either humility
Mhm.
or will feed more ego.
Okay.
So you have to decide, what is it doing? Is it feeding ego or is it
Mm-hmm.
feeding humility?
Mm-hmm.
So to love someone in the way that they're satisfied and you're satisfied, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no simple task.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're satisfied, but if it just feeds their ego,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to affect your ego.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to either make your ego unhappier
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to make you more conceited, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't go ahead and say, everybody, here's my plan, get out of the way.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you just can't.
There's no way to find out.
There's no way to find out.
Be in the
You don't know what
moment.
your karma is. You
Mhm.
don't know what your need for the path.
Mhm.
You don't know if this needs to happen for you or not.
Mhm.
But if you engage everything
Mhm.
honestly and openly, no secrets,
Mhm.
go straight,
Yeah.
go forward. You don't have to avoid anything. You don't
Mhm.
have to be detached.
Mhm.
There's no such thing as detachment,
Mm-hmm.
really.
I was wondering what that meant.
There's no such thing as detachment.
Mhm.
If I said, well, I'm detached from you,
It seems like a cop-out.
you would hate
Yeah.
that if I said
Yeah,
that to you. So
right,
if
yeah.
I can't be detached from you, how can
Uh-huh.
you be detached if
Right.
I'm your teacher?
Yeah. Like,
You don't want me to be detached from you. There's no
Mhm.
such thing as detachment.
Yeah.
When you
Trying to
die,
find-
you're going to detach from your body.
Yeah.
There's that detachment. There is detachment, but in that kind of sense, in the spiritual path and in relationship, no.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to understand what
You're just
it
detaching.
meant. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
what the good. what
Okay,
it-
you're detaching from someone's ego who says,
Yeah.
do this to make me happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to.
Right.
But
That's
see,
a
that's
simple one,
natural
yeah.
detachment because
Yeah.
you don't want to.
Because you don't want to.
So the sense of detachment is this horrible sacrifice,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that exists, really.
Or even a noble, like I'm detached. Like the noble.
I think that's just, man's ego trip
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
detached emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad in his room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just and that's not going to lead to any satisfaction or any spiritual reality either.
Yeah.
So what is it then?
Seems like it's protecting.
Other people's
Self-protecting.
needs scare you.
Yeah.
Other people's love scares you.
Yeah.
That's what it means, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This love is a very creative force. So someone starts loving you, and you go, I want to be detached here. Okay. You have the creative energy is like, how are you going to meet it?
Right.
In what way are you going to meet it that satisfies you and satisfies that person?
Mhm.
And it creates a bond or a depth of love that isn't just enforcing ego.
Right.
It's not just an ego trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing to do. That's how you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run away from your life and just set up an idea in your head what your life should be. Some people have very minimal lives. They don't have any much money. They just sit in their room and meditate. Nothing happens to them. No one comes over.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not very usual.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody else has another kind of life than
Right.
that life. And like I said, if I was detached, you'd be like, she's no fun.
Right.
So you want to enjoy your life, whether you're teaching or not teaching or whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to enjoy my life in the sustainable field as well as the relatable field,
Mm-hmm.
as well as my love of the sacred as I am.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy all that.
Yeah.
And so that's always creative, because as you get older, you have different needs in your sustainable field, different things you have to deal with being older.
Right.
And the relatable field, now I'm in the matron phase of my life. I'm out of the virgin and the maid, I'm the matron now, and I'm the grandmother type now.
Mm-hmm.
And to enjoy that role and to be in that role as an awakened person.
Mm-hmm.
So to live as an awakened person in the sustainable field, in the relatable field, as well as in the spiritual depth that you live, who you are before anything,
Mm-hmm.
what you are before anything,
Yeah.
to enjoy that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all the other things you don't have to take so seriously.
Yeah.
But there's no formula or rule for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's the process. And if you're intelligent about your process, then it will deepen.
Mhm.
If you're not, if you're just thinking it up with your mind and your ideas and your concepts, the thing about Master Bonsai in the story, he's not a teacher that was schooled in spiritual concepts in any way.
Mm-hmm.
He lived among this forest, and his actual teacher was a tree, and and he was receptive to the tree, so the tree danced the dance of eternity with him, and in that he became to understand himself as who he is. And then the force of that attracted other people, and people wanted to package it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to figure it out. They wanted the concept of it. They wanted to copy it or something and possess it.
Yeah.
And when they couldn't do that, he didn't take on the role in that way that most teachers take on the role.
Mm-hmm.
They just saw him as a person that had all these flaws, and they begin to lose track of why they were attracted to him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And they just saw him as a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was flawed, and he, in some ways, was not spiritually interesting to them because he didn't play up the game of it,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the story is about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what happens to him, and it's a playful, happy story. So it's not a sad ending in any way. None of my stories are that way, because you only have to get to happiness. So they all have to. For me, they all have to have a happy ending, because that's where everybody's going to get to.
Yeah.
Happiness. So. Where else? Somebody's gonna get there. Somewhere, sometime. Yeah. Any other questions or anything about sustainability, the relatable field?
I feel like I there was a lot of tattooing that I did for the ego boost of it. Like I really, I wanted people to give me that, or get respect, or whatever the hell that means. And I don't. That's not there anymore. So. I'm trying to transition to other ways to do art, but like doing tattoos now, that was a big motivator. So I'm finding it difficult to that fuel isn't there to like really. Do you know what I mean?
I know, like the desire and attraction, it starts to wane.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a crossroads.
Yeah. So I'm trying to transition, and it's just different now. It feels different now.
No.
It's not pulling.
It's not the same. Like, I used to enjoy, like, showing everybody in the room You know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? And really doing that. And now I want to do a great job. I want it to be a nice tattoo. I mean, that's not gone. But like, all that other stuff isn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's weird. And a lot of that business is that.
That happens a lot of time throughout your life as you get older and older. Things that really had all that power and passion and energy and, you know, that enthusiasm, and you couldn't wait to meet it.
Totally.
And it changes many times in your life, so you're entering one of those phases.
Yeah, it's a time of transition for sure.
Yeah.
I remember it at the end of music. I remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, you know.
So while you're considering this, you know, because this deals with your sustainable field, right?
Yeah.
You can, if you deal with it consciously, think, you know, you look at it and say, what can I do to move into a deeper, more satisfying, sustainable field, and set up a plan, and you're happy about the plan. It's just not you make a plan and say, I don't really want to do that either. It has to be something you're happy about.
Yeah.
And you start moving the plan, this can actually, you know, when you go to meditate, your meditation will be also, you know, you'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be there and got my plan on the sustainable field. You know, this is what's going on in the relatable field. I'm free now just to sit in my meditation and go deep.
It'll
here.
flow easy. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. But if you don't make a decision and you don't move towards it, and you're not seeing that it's what's attracting you, not open, and even your meditation can help you to open to what it is and how to move into it. And if you don't do it and you keep stalling it, you're in a way also stalling your meditation in a way. Yeah.
It affects everything. I know
it affects everything. Yeah. Someone who would have very, like, say, strong tendency towards meditation could overcome some of those things in you know, the sustainable or relatable field, but not most people. Yeah.
You got to have those lined up for most people.
Yeah. Because you all been with me a long time, and you know a lot of things, and you understand a lot of things. But your meditation doesn't go deeper and deeper. It's not alive with its own process. You can sit and do a nice meditation, but it's you sitting doing a nice meditation, waiting to meet the nice meditation. But once you meet it, that's it. It doesn't go deeper and deeper. You're just met it. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're working on, if you have any disturbances in the relatable field, any disturbances in the sustainable field, that's why I always recommend you just work on them and face them and get through them. And, you know, because I can meditate in a room. We can go on a retreat for 3 days and do meditations every day and lift you out of your ordinary life. But then you don't go home and go deeper. You just take that energy and hold on to it and say what a great experience and how more spiritual you are. But then you're still reacting in the same ways to everything.
Yeah.
Right.
The ego and the whatever you want to call it, the shadow, the ego is still dictating your life to you.
Right.
Even those 3 days.
Yeah.
You're even using those in context with it.
Well, you know, a teacher that is awake can really bring you into their aura of what it is to be awake and free. And so none of those things in your life that are swirling around in you and create a lot of obstruction in your thinking and how you live your life and what you know and what you can be. It's all there, you know, but you can get a space from it. And you can just go on a vacation and get a space from it sometimes. Or you can just sit under a tree and get a space. And that's all wonderful. But that's not being in your life. Someone who can really be in their life, really, you know, and not want anybody else's life or part of anybody else's life, but really are just in their life completely. That's a very rare thing, whether they're awake or not, you know. It's a rare thing to actually be in your life in the way that you're satisfied with everything and happy and radiate that to others, that you're satisfied and happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very rare thing. Most people are not in their lives completely because they have some sustainable issues that they're always unhappy about, and they also maybe have some relatable issues they're always unhappy about. So it's hard to be here in your life. You're just unhappy about everything. You go to work, there's something about the work that you're mad about. You get home, there's something you're mad about at home, so you can't, you know, so you just meditate just to have a space. And you can go sit under a tree just to have a space, go on vacation just to have a space, but it's not the deepening of this process. There's a lot of great things to say about this process, and a lot of psychophysical changes of the body and the mind that occur that free up attention, but and the realization can deepen and you can wake up. But if you don't, most people never get there. They're just on this. So they grab whatever they can from the spiritual supermarket, you know, and put it in their bag, and they still have the sustainable and the relatable fields that are just all, they're just dissatisfied and they're unhappy and they don't know how to be in their lives, and they're hoping this, what they buy in the spiritual supermarket will solve those problems. But you have to solve those problems in your life where you're at. So if there's something about your sustainability that really makes you unhappy and you're dissatisfied, you have to solve that. And you have to solve whatever is unhappy in your relationships. And you can't bypass it. And you know, it's only going to look like what it looks like for you. So if you want to get out a tattoo and do other kind of art, somebody who's a tattoo guy would say, what are you doing that for, right? So it would be true for you.
Yeah.
And whatever work you do and choose to do, or whatever you grow dissatisfied or it's not working for you, you know, it's your choice. It's your life. You're the one that has to be in it. So
That's how it's really following your attraction.
yeah.
To go to the other point, it's the same answer.
Well, it's your natural intelligence. It's your deep intelligence that's guiding you through all this, you know, and is saying, well, you're not satisfied, are you? You know. And I think it's hard to get through a life where you're not satisfied with your relatable field and your sustainable field and really have a true, deep spiritual path. You know, different saints live very unique lives where they got up and left their home and meditated in the forest. We're not having those lives, you know. And they had a deep impulse towards that. So, but we're not having those lives. You guys got families, you got jobs, you got a, you know, if you go live in the forest, you know, good luck. I mean, you probably get arrested because it's national park. It's national park. You'll get arrested. You know, there's so many obstacles that it just won't happen that way for
Where's
you.
the pizza tree?
Yeah, where's the pizza tree? There are a lot of orange trees
That's
around
true.
there. It might turn orange after a while, though.
Definitely there.
Yeah. Any questions about the sustainable or relatable field?
You answered a lot.
Yeah.
Really good.
It really helps.
Very helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going over this with you, Pat, because you can imagine all sorts of spiritual theories and concepts, and most of them are good concepts. I don't have any complaint about that. But if you don't know how to be relatable in a way that not that you're dissatisfied, but other people are dissatisfied, then you're just going over it in your mind all the time, your dissatisfaction.
I saw this week when I'm studying people's facial body language, how little I paid attention to it. And so I've just been on my idea. And so I missed the whole relatable field.
Yeah.
Just pushing my ideas.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
They don't want to see the person. The thing is, when you meet people and see them where they are, and you allowed yourself to be seen where you are, then sort of a networking of help and support happens naturally. Like say, oh, I know about this job over here. You might check it out, you know. But if you don't do that, you're just pushing your dissatisfaction on them or your ideas on them, then they're like, gotta go. So people feel they still have work in the sustainable or relatable field? Okay.
Yes, very much. And that is very, very
You know,
helpful.
a lot of, over the years we did different retreats, and I would individually go over things with you and in a group, and we had meditation periods, and none of it really worked to deepen meditation. And you still struggled with some sustainable issues and relatable issues. And so I'm like, well, I don't think you're going to get out of it, you know, by just addressing spiritual questions and answers. I don't think you're going to get out of it. By hanging around an enlightened person, I don't think you're going to get out of it. It's like if you go through it and go through it because it's your life and it matters. It matters that your sustainability is honest and good. It matters that your relationships are honest and good. And then it matters that your enlightenment, well, I think we'll all line up a lot quicker for you to deepen. But if any of those things don't matter to you, the earlier things, who's going to do your life for you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody volunteers. Like, oh, you know, so-and-so doesn't like to be relatable, so I'll be nice to them all the time. No. Nothing works. You have to really be in your life where your karma is. And if your karma is like you have to work in some sustainable issues, work there. But that doesn't have to stop you, you know, from being here for the deeper reason at all. But you just have to get through it, you know, and want to get through it instead of saying, you know, you can go and hear a lot of great spiritual concepts and be around great spiritual energy and all that and get a big glimpse of it. But that glimpse should now propel you to deal with whatever in those areas of your life you haven't dealt with, that you're dissatisfied with. Otherwise, you're going to count on spiritual energy to fulfill you in those areas. And you're going to misuse spiritual energy. And, you know, you're going to be one of those people that, what do you call them? Assholes of spirituality? I don't know.
Shakesters of spirituality.
Shakesters? Whatever. This is, you know, life is simple. And you have exactly in your life what you need, you know, and you just need to be satisfied and do it in the way that's right for you. So you like art, so that's not confusing. So you like a certain form of art, now you're growing beyond that. And instead of resisting it, you have to begin to make your plans and network psychically and physically and be open. And once you're open and you know you're moving out of it, you know, the old beliefs that held you there are going to crumple away and new beliefs, better beliefs are going to come for you, and then you're going to meet them and they create a network of other people that are in with those beliefs. So it all happens, but you have to let go and you have to want to go ahead. And most people don't want to go ahead because they're afraid. They're afraid to do anything. They're afraid of change, they're afraid of what's required, they're afraid of giving up what they have in some form of it. And
I was going through all that.
Yeah. But see, fear is what you have to get through to realize the self. It's not like, you know, you get to be afraid of all sorts of things and wake up, you know?
Yeah, with that freelance job I took, I was scared to say
Yeah.
Real bad,
Well, you know, throughout the years, some of you had different opportunities to go ahead in your work and you wanted to turn them down. I said, don't turn them down. This is where you get to learn something more. So you always, in general, I find people afraid to learn more. And yet, you want to learn more, why not?
Yeah.
It's really fun learning more stuff. You know, more about what you like and how you can have your life your way. You know, if you're a lot of different schools you go to, including spiritual schools, is formatted. Everybody does this, thinks this, wears this, does that. And that might work for a while, but at a certain point it's not going to work unless it really is your life. You have to be in your life. And who you know in that life is going to be different than the person sitting next to you and what they mean to you. And what you need to eat and how you need to sustain yourself is all going to be different. And if it's just one formula for all of it, then there's going to be a lot of unhappy, dissatisfied, angry people. And we're in a world where the mass media and TV kind of creates this one idea of who you can be and how you can be satisfied. And that has created forms a lot of insanity for people because they can't comply to it. It's not them. But they don't know it's okay to be them. Because to be the real you that you are and to live a satisfying life, it's going to take courage. It's going to take some effort and work, and it's going to take passion and drive, and it's going to take all the good qualities that you think somebody on the spiritual path should have. It's going to take those qualities just to have the life that you want to be in. So if you're living in a spiritual community and you don't like your life, then it's either, you know, you're participating in something that's not for you, or probably that's the answer.
Yeah.
You know. So if you go to a school to study art and you never do any of the work, well, maybe you don't really want to do art.
You're playing the violin.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to be in the right place for the right reason and want to do it. You know, and to come and not want to do it is a lot of people's idea about the spiritual path is that there's no spiritual path. You just wake up because you're already that. Well, you can believe that. And if you believe that and it wakes you up, good. But if you believe that and it never wakes you up, then something else has to happen. I don't know. Whatever your mind believes in doesn't really make it happen. It's like we can think of, you know, pizza right now, and there's no pizza, so. Wait a minute! It's the pizza guy! Wait a minute, everything I wish for, I get!
Someone thinking pizza?
Pizza.
Hey, there's that tree.
The pizza giving tree. Well, would you... Everybody would say they're satisfied with the sustainable field? Or they feel they're not satisfied enough and they have work to do?
Work to do.
Okay, so about half people say they have work to do. Would people say that they're satisfied in the relatable field, or they feel they have some real growing up work to do?
I still work.
Okay, everybody still feels that way. Okay, so you see, that's why we could have another period of let's go deeper with meditation, and we're not going to arrive there. It's not going to go deeper. I can give you different kind of experiences, like if you're experienced, and other teachers can too, but it's not going to take root unless it's done, because your energy's locked down there in that lower part of your life. The karma wheels are spinning. Any questions, Tori? You look like you're...
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, I feel really strong and clear sometimes, and then I'll get reactive in relationship, and I can feel it's a big hole. That's what it feels like. It's a big hole, everything drops out, you know.
What do you want in the relatable field that you're not getting?
Just really simple cooperation, and space when we need it, fun when we need it. Just simplicity, a simplicity without competition, without demands, without that kind of intense complication of a power game or something. It's just so tiring, really tiring. And I still can react. That's my problem. If something's happening like that, and I'll react instead of stay where I want to be. You know, I still go somewhere else, and then I lose my, I don't know, center or whatever it is. You know, my sense of just fullness and happiness.
Satisfied in the relatable field. Yeah.
Which I do feel. But then those reactivity just pulls it out of me. I feel it like empties me. It's really...
It does.
Really not
exhausting,
good.
huh?
Yeah, really not
Emotionally
good.
related to me.
Well, you've all been in a
past
relationship
that.
with each other over the years, so you can see how you emptied each other or made each other react, and we're not dissatisfied in the relatable field with each other. You know?
I feel stronger, but I still find myself going to that reactivity, and I don't like it. I want to grow out of that. I really do.
Okay. Well, how often are you still reacting?
Not a lot. I mean, I used to live in it, in that state. Now, once in a while. I can feel
And once in a while you felt okay, and then but most of the time you didn't.
Yeah, I used to feel really terrible. You know, really reactive and emotional, and you know, blaming everyone in the world. But now I don't feel like that. I really don't.
No.
But sometimes something will happen, and it drains me. So that's my weakness still.
Yeah.
You know, I feel it.
So what are you considering that you have to do different so you don't get drained?
I have to be more conscious of, in a conversation with someone, if I have any sense at all that it's going to be difficult, I have to be conscious right then of what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But it has to, in the moment where I usually would become reactive, I have to be more conscious right then.
Okay.
So
Catch it in the button.
Catch it right there.
Also, if you remember the the miserable emotional state you were in that point, you just remember that. I'm not going there.
I want to go there.
I'm just gonna pull it out. Just don't.
Well, that's kind of a detachment if you're talking about detachment. huh?
That's necessity.
Well, I think
You're just detaching from the reactivity.
yeah, from
Yeah.
reactivity, and whereas thinking that there's always going to just be this golden thread that I'm going to follow, where it always feels. It's like thinking that there's some immunity, like I'm always going to feel the friction with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I need to come to terms with that.
The more
That-
spiritual you get, the more they break your heart.
Yeah.
Because
good.
you now have a heart
Right.
good.
that's open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's no immunity, and
No.
to think that it's there is like I was thinking. I don't think that concept exists. I think
No.
I'm okay with throwing that out now.
good.
Well, if you're trying to wake up so you
Yeah.
don't, so people can't hurt your feelings anymore, well,
That's right.
Yeah.
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 Once like it's everything's going to be rosy.
But
No, it's not.
it's not.
you haven't seen my life as rosy, have you?
No,
No.
That's good.
you said for us.
No.
No.
Yeah, it's never over.
Mm-hmm.
You see how much you
I mean, I'm not fooled by your ego or
Yeah.
anything like that, so you have that in
Mhm.
Yeah.
awakening,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people are being really pompous and selfish and self-important, you have to suffer that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can't get out of suffering it, sometimes you can.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to take it, and sometimes you don't have to.
Yeah.
But the thing about being awake is your emotions are just transparent. You just feel something and then it moves.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like go in your room and you think about it and you're going to work on it and have a plan with it. And
Yeah.
then,
Right.
you know, like 5 minutes later I can be laughing at, drawing a great collage or something and laughing. And,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to work, because I also have the function of being a teacher, if I have to work with the teacher and create a means for them to understand, then I might have to sit with it longer.
Mhm.
But other than that, no.
Mhm.
If I'm not doing that, I don't have to sit with it at all. So all emotions can be transparent.
Mhm.
Sometimes I take on clusters of negative feelings in the world, and they get processed through my body.
Mhm.
So sometimes I experience that.
So
That's part of the
you
spiritual process.
you transparent emotions of your own and then others around it.
Yeah, well, if you
Yeah.
say, if you go in my house and you steal something, I'll say, what are you doing, Yesco? Why are you stealing it? I might be amused, I don't know. I never know what reaction I'll have. But it won't be, well, you've seen it. You've seen me for all these years. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not the same reaction.
Right.
Where other people will,
Not predictable.
you know, it's not predictable. Like I might give the worst person in the world my, you know, favorite object, and you're like, that person's an asshole. Why is she giving that? And you don't know why.
Trusted thought.
You completely trusting in the moment.
Yes.
The impulses.
Yeah,
or
what the impulse
attraction or
is, yeah.
whatever.
I've, you know, I actually did this experiment going up Skyline once, walking up there, you know, going up to the bench. And I wanted to do the experiment of just using negative thoughts and trying to overcome them and walk up, you know, like, just go, this is really hard. Why am I doing this? This is terrible.
That's my part.
Oh, this is awful and awful and awful. You know, and I kept walking up and going over these thoughts, like how bad it was, how much suffering it is, what a drag, it's no fun, why am I doing this? This is stupid, I must be an asshole for doing this. And I did that all the way to the top, and I got to the bench, and I said, okay, I'm here. And I said, well, how did that go? I didn't believe any of the thoughts.
That's why.
That's the problem. I didn't believe any of them. I could pretend them, but I didn't believe them.
You carry the
That's the difference. You get attached and you
So
believe
there's no
them.
annoyance to you having negative thoughts. That
No, I just don't really believe them.
Yeah.
You believe them, see?
Yeah.
I don't.
That's what slows us down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You believe them, then you build
That's the
what
way.
you're going to do and what you're going to do next
Yeah.
around those negative thoughts. I just don't believe them.
Yeah, it gets it.
So sometimes I try being you, like what it is to be an ego, and I try it again, and I'm really bad at it because, like, I don't believe the negative.
That's right.
So I get to the bench and I'm looking and say, oh, beautiful, wonderful. And then I said, well, how did that go? And I said, well, I didn't really believe any of those thoughts. I just walked up the hill. See, and the thing is, you believe them, though.
Yeah.
You believe everything.
Don't go too far.
Yeah. You believe everything. And you go over it. and you go over it enough so you really believe in it.
Right.
And you put all your emotions. So the first and second, the second chakra, you know, the emotional chakra and the sexual chakra is packed in there with the survival one, and you hold those thoughts and keep it there, and you keep it there, and it just seems like, so the chakras are not actually opened anymore to enjoy, you know, the sensuality of nature or how everything's growing and supporting everything. You're just there fighting yourself, you know, and you really believe it.
Yeah.
And you know, when I first woke up, and I walked around and I said, oh, okay. And I would see any thought that came, and good or bad or stupid or whatever. And I just let every thought, because up to that point I used to do intense meditation in japa, so I didn't really have any thoughts that went anywhere. Because I was always meditating to wake up.
Yeah.
And so once I woke up,
So
I didn't have to do the work of that anymore. Until I started teaching, then I did it. Helped you to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but it just wasn't ever me.
That sounds right though, because the mind can construct anymore to try to capture you, like, you know,
No.
it's yours,
No.
not like that anymore.
No, so with you, you know, like, you want to be mad in the relatable field.
I don't enjoy it anymore, though.
Yeah. See, that's
what's
what I
happening.
mean. Once
I
your
don't.
attraction says,
Yeah.
this is not fun, you know, because at a certain point, even being mad and angry and abusing people and bossing people around seems fun for some people.
It was.
Power trip.
It's a power trip. But once you figure out that the consequences are kind of bad, then you might say, it's not that fun. It'd be funner if there was no consequences, you know, like not everybody hated me and I'm getting a divorce and, you know, all this. You know? But, so that's how you learn. That's how your intelligence and your heart deepens.
Right.
You know, you figure out, oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, so I would experiment with things along the way, because as soon as I woke up, I was kind of pushed by my guru to internally to begin this work. And interestingly enough, I had been doing it with people I met while I was going through my sadhana. So I was already doing it in that way. And when I met some of you guys, I would dream all your lifetimes and all the work you've done and what's going on with you. And that still happens when I meet somebody new who's meant to be a part of my circle. And I'm not here to teach a lot of people, you know. That has been to be the popular teacher, to go out, meet lots of people, and talk to lots of people. Now my work has been of a different nature, and you know what that's about. So, yeah. So if you still have all those worries, concerns, and thoughts, see, the way you did everything, until it failed, and you had repeated consequences, you didn't really suspect that it wasn't any good, did you?
No.
No.
You don't know.
That's where you talk about the ambition to the mission leads, because once I get older, there's a few things that I don't think about as much anymore, and they've just been worked out.
Yeah.
Other things I still have to.
You have to still, because that area, those two areas of your life, you can never get away from. To be in your life, you have to deal with those. Are your relationships good? Are you satisfied? Are the people satisfied knowing you? You know, if people are not satisfied knowing you, that you count on for your own relatability, you know, because everybody has to have people in their lives. Everybody. And there might be some unique people that don't, but everybody has people in their lives. And so you want to be related to them in a way that you're happy and they're happy. And that's a creative game of being present and listening and open and happy and caring. It's not giving people the rule sheet of how to relate to you. It doesn't work.
Rule sheet?
No more scripts.
So does that, you know, so does that help get you through, like, where you want to go? Because I don't want you to feel like you've been here all these years and either I'm a bad teacher, I don't know shit,
You know it's not.
or you're terrible students and you don't know shit. We can meet in the middle, in which, you know, there's certain lessons and they're hard to get. But once you get them, it's going to go quicker. And why you're locked down here is because there's certain things, you've got repeated consequences, you know, and you see that what you wanted has these consequences, and therefore is it really what you want, or does it really work? And so that's what you have to make sense of, and it's your life. I'm not being a school teacher. I'm not being a cook. I'm not being any of those things. So you have to make those decisions, you know. And they should everything should keep going forward in the way that you are satisfied. No one has to be at a job where they're just oppressed. No one has to be in a relationship where they're just oppressed. I mean, a lot of people live lives where they feel somewhat oppressed at their jobs, somewhat oppressed in their relationships, and that's not a satisfying life. You know? And they just get along and say, okay, as good as it gets for me. This is all I get. Okay. I know whose fault it is.
Everybody else.
So you have to be in your life, make your choices. Don't act like life's just being thrown at you and you're just stuck with whatever it gives you, because that's not what it is. You've created it. So if you create it a little more consciously, it'll appear more satisfying to you. And if you're here to wake up, then meditation can begin to deepen, because all your energy and your reactivity and your ego trips and your dark side or whatever, all those great psychological language of all that, and the personality is not going to be taking you down, you know, because you'll just have a simple life and you'll be satisfied. Some people's lives will be bigger and more complicated than others, but mostly not. Everybody here has a pretty simple life, right? Nobody thinks it's all that complicated. But everybody said that they still have work to do to arrive at that satisfaction in the sustainable and relatable field. So that has to be done. And what we can do on Friday nights is, like, if there's any problem with that, bring it up. You know, maybe somebody has some inspiration and can get you through it, help you to understand it better. Or just say, hey, keep going, you're getting there, that's good, you know, but you're changing your career focus, you know. We don't want to feel like everybody's alone in the sustainable field, just struggling, pulling out their hair and not getting anywhere and feeling oppressed at their jobs. And we don't want to feel that people are just alone in their room, feel unfulfilled in love and dissatisfied. We don't. And yet we're all really getting spiritual here. We're really deep. Lightman's almost here. And
screw everybody else. Lightman's over here.
I'm detached.
I'm detached.
Move over.
Move over. You know, I know years back, maybe about 5 years ago, I had a dream. I think it was Susan got married, and I told the dream, she said, oh no, that never happened. And I said, well, we all like the guy. He's a great guy. And you're like, oh, that never happened. See, that's a fake detachment, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a reactive detachment. Because if life brings you something like that, it's a wonderful gift to have a partner that really is loving and, you know, and that you're worthy to have it, to be in it, you know. You know, I mean, if you just do male spirituality, the guys get to have all the sex, and yet they get to be in their room while the women cooks, and they just get to be spiritual in their room and send the next young one in.
Detached.
That's you know, male spirituality. Female spirituality is everybody come in the kitchen, we'll feed everybody, come on. Oh, don't have sex with that old guy. Stay over here. You won't get enlightened because you have sex with him. The real thing is, men have no idea how many women don't want to have sex with them. No idea.
So much more than do.
What's that?
So much more than do.
Well, it's such an oppressive society for women. We don't have any rights. We don't have any, you know, measurable degree of just easily going to our sustainable satisfaction and our relatable satisfaction. We have to, like, scrape and beg and hop and whatever. Be aggressive, be dominant, cry, fall on the floor, just to get the simple things met in life. That, and then we have to go home and cook dinner and have sex. So it's like, it's too much. And the guy was just like, what's for dinner?
6 o'clock.
What's that?
5 to 6.
5 to 6. My dad. 5 to 5, Terry.
You would say that for dinner?
Oh yeah, he would have dinner exactly the same time every night.
My mom had it for 30 years at 6:30.
Yeah, so you
No, but
see?
he would make a comment if it was like 5 minutes till mealtime.
I don't remember that. I'm just making a joke, but probably. Did you ever make a comment when you're a woman who didn't have things on time when you wanted them?
Yes, I did.
Excellent, Eli.
Once or twice. Okay.
Well, I hope the next generation is not as bad as our generation.
And we had a big sexual revolution, mind you.
Yeah, that was all for men to have more sex.
Exactly.
And they didn't have to have any accountability and true relatability of the heart. Yeah. That was the sexual revolution. It was cooked up by men, huh? Yeah. All right. So anything else anybody wants to say? Or, you know your work, right? I got my work cut out for me. Yeah.